grateful for that kind introduction, and I'm really honored to be with these distinguished graduates and their families who have stood behind them and with them as they progress through their high school experience. Commencement addresses are often little more than a parade of cliches. You can be whatever you want to be. The best of life lies before you. Just be yourself. Be true to yourself. Follow that dream. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Commencement cliches can be justified, however, because they are short. And the one almost ironclad requirement for a commencement address is that it be short. Unless you're the President of the United States addressing the graduating class at the U.S. Military Academy when you have to explain U.S. foreign policy for the next couple of years, or if you were George C. Marshall at the Harvard commencement in 1947 when he took a great deal of time to explain how U.S. financial assistance would be used to rebuild a war-torn Europe. Otherwise, you need to be short. But can't there be something better than cliches for commencement? And so, particularly for this class, about whom my wife and I were privileged to hear at the honoring dinner last night, so many positive things about their willingness to see the world accurately, to engage the world energetically, and to go forward into the world with passion. You thought you had to come up with something more than just a cliche. So the title of this short address is Seeking a Slogan for the Season. I think I found one, but it took a little while, and I'd like to go through first with you the also-rans, the slogans that may have some purchase and some reason for drawing folks' attention, but not for this group of honored and distinguished graduates. The first slogan that came to mind that perhaps might serve as a slogan for the season comes from an individual whom I'm sure many of you have read, and maybe all as part of the curriculum at Trinity. Gilbert Keith Chesterton was a very well-known journalist, detective story writer, Christian apologist in the early decades of the 20th century. And he said something once that has become, in some ways, what I like to think of as my life verse. Never, he said, never sell anything once. Chesterton, as you know, was a speaker, and when he found ideas that sounded good on the platform, often they went into the columns that appeared in his GK weekly newspaper. With a little adjustment, they could fit into articles written for other newspapers. With a little more adjustment, they could become part of his books. Once in a while, and the interval seems to be increasing with age, once in a while I've actually said something off the cuff in class that has struck me as worthy of being preserved. Lo and behold, it turns up in a book review. A little bit later, it turns up into a chapter of one of my books, and I thought that with the great skill that was so obviously on display in what you folks have done with writing, and in this age of the blogging and tweeting and Facebook gushing, you folks should never sell anything once. But the slogan also is quite self-centered, it's limiting, is much more materialistic than the high standards you have been taught at Trinity School. So let's try another one. 2 nights ago, at the commencement service for our daughter-in-law, who was finishing her medical residency in Chicago, the speaker, who was the chief executive officer of the Stroger Health Service in Chicago, gave advice to new physicians. One of his bits of advice was a slogan, perhaps a slogan for the season, and it was, "Don't get mad, get even." He was talking to young physicians who are going to be in situations where there's many times they will be the butt of criticism, many times when they will rub others the wrong way, many times when there will be occasions where they could get mad. He was saying, channel your energy positively. Don't get mad, but get even. But that way of handling life's difficulties prevents someone from taking criticism to heart. from realizing that when sometimes people do things that make you mad, they're doing those things for your betterment. This is a mean-spirited, a selfish, a petty-minded slogan, so we can do better. One that I particularly like and use probably too much, my wife says to me, is don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff is perfect for when I see something clearly that someone else does not see clearly. So I'm able to point out my high plateau of perfection what others need to see more clearly in the lower levels that they inhabit. Don't sweat the small stuff. That reminds me of a tired story that some of you may have heard and won't want to hear again, but it fits the slogan. About a family in the 1950s when traditional gender roles were taken for granted. The husband is asked, well, who makes the decisions in your house? And he says, well, I of course make all the important decisions. What does your wife do? Well, she decides what car we drive. She decides where we go to church. She decides our house. She decides what job I should do. What's left for you? The husband replies, well, I take care of the national defense budget. I decide who we are going to conflict with. I tell the newspapers what they should write about. He was taking care of the big stuff. She was sweating the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. Sounds good. Who decides what is the small stuff and what is the big stuff? So that's not a good slogan for the season for the Trinity graduates. One that comes closer, I think, is the slogan, you only go around once. Clearly, what you've done in high school is now in the past. What you're anticipating in your college years, the service projects you engage in, life after college, you will have opportunities to try, fail, try it again, but each moment in time is present and then gone. So there is something to be said for the slogan, you only go around once, if it had not been ruined by the Schlitz Brewing Company. You only go around once, so grab all the gusto while you can. My wife and I live on Notre Dame Avenue, sort of midway between the university and St. Joe High School, and also, regrettably, sort of halfway between dormitory residence and downtown taverns. Some Friday and Saturday evenings, long after we've gone to bed, we actually hear loudly, disruptively, what you only go around once, so grab all the gusto while you can means. What it means is a disruption of a quiet urban neighborhood. What if we gave this slogan the Greenlawn Rice spin? What if we adjusted it not for you only go around once, so grab all the gusto you can? What if we adjusted it to when the one great scorer comes to write against your name, he marks not that you won or lost, but how you played the game. This is the second most famous saying of Greenlawn Rice. The first had something to do with 4 horsemen and an apocalypse. Greenlawn Rice is saying that when you go around in life once, you are needing to keep in mind not just the temporalities of life, but the eternal dimensions of life. And this is not too bad, except that Greenlawn Rice certainly contributed to the, I would say, pathology in American life that sees sport not as an analogy for life, but as a sum and substance for life. So while there's something to be said, where you only go around once, this is not, I think, a slogan for the season of Trinity graduates. But I do have the slogan, and since you are all learned Trinity graduates, I can give it to you first in the original. Omne trium perfectum. Good things come in threes. Or actually, the proper translation of that original Latin phrase is, everything that comes in threes is perfect. This is a good slogan for your stage in life. You have had a good, we assume, we hope, we conclude, a good conclusion to your high school life. Many of you are looking forward to good experiences this summer. Many of you are looking forward to good new experiences in the fall. So you will have, within just a matter of months, 3 good things happening to you. I must confess that my reason for thinking this slogan is such a good one for Trinity Greenlawn graduation has a great deal to do with my teaching experience at the University of Notre Dame. 3 years ago, in the spring of 2002, I was coming to the end of a fairly large class at Notre Dame with maybe 25 or 30 students, and getting ready to do the final grading compilations and see who had really launched into the materials, written clearly for exams, gone out broadly and deeply into research papers. And it turns out that of the 5 or 6 people who were clearly at the top of the class, I think all but one of them was a graduate of one of the 3 Trinity schools. That was curious, I thought. Spring of 2013, a similar class, and a similar thing happened with most of the people who really grappled with the material at the best level turned out to be, again, graduates of one of the 3 Trinity schools. And this past spring, as in my capacity as a member of the history department, asked sometimes to mentor people to doing the year-long honors thesis, I had one of the very best year-long honors projects, a very successful paper, master's degree, quality by, guess it, a graduate of one of the Trinity schools. So I had 3 occasions when John Lee's notice came to think about good things coming in.